Hey, Doug.
Hey Larry, how you doing?
All right. How you doing?
Okay. You have a good weekend?
Relaxful, I guess. Kind of relaxing.
That's good.
How about you?
Yeah, about the same. Took today off to work on my capstone,
Okay.
which it's like,
That was a
I don't know, two steps forward, one step back. It's like every couple of times I try to like set something new in place, it feels like the whole thing's unraveling.
okay.
A lot of bug hunting.
Have you been using Git and restoring back to versions that worked?
So I have not been restoring back, but I have been committing to Git, just so if it does get too bad, I can find my way back and to a working version.
Okay, cool.
But that's a good point. I should probably push it whenever I've got it stable.
Yeah.
You leave town this weekend?
Nah, my dad was in the hospital, so I had to stay close, but he's out now. So
Oh, sorry to hear
yeah,
that.
he's out. Thank you. He's out now, though.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Thank you.
And how's the apprenticeship shaping up?
Yeah, that's stressful too. I had like a ticket, and even though I kind of know what they want me to do, I don't really know how to do it. So, and it's just trying to put all the pieces together at one time. So I told my mentor that, so we're gonna step back and break it down piece by piece and get some of the fundamentals together before I'm trying to do complicated stuff, because I'm like, I have to sit here and try to figure it out, but I really don't know this system. So
That's good. I mean, that's good that you're going to get to back up a little bit. And I mean, learning a whole new language, starting a job with a whole new language, that seems like a lot.
yeah, and then trying to do it while you're doing school too. That's another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I guess at first we was only supposed to have a month overlap, but it ended up being 2. So that took away time from me from some other stuff too.
Yeah, I imagine so. So is it in person 5 days a week?
No, it's remote. If I want to go in person, I can though. But it's remote. But the people have been very supportive, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's great. Well, they must have confidence in your ability to get it done, because I mean they picked you for the job.
Yeah, that's what I said too. So I got to learn it some way, somehow.
Well, also, I mean, I imagine once this class ends, there's going to be more time.
Yeah, because definitely be more time. And then once I get that down pat, I do want to go back and like kind of watch from the beginning and take the class over, but and put more time with it. I just felt like I didn't get it, especially towards, June. I didn't get to put like a lot of time in since then.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, there's definitely some I would like to go back and redo, especially now that like there's some things it's like, oh, I got like a decent grasp on it. Whereas when we started it, I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. So like go back and relearn it with, with a little more familiarity to start with.
Yeah,
Seems like I might be able to absorb more.
I think so.
Hello.
Max, how you doing?
Hey, Max.
Sorry I'm late. Just got back to New York.
Oh, wow.
Oh, welcome back.
Welcome. Where you coming from?
South Jersey, my parents' house. I
Okay.
was down there for 3 weeks, and then a week of that I was out in California. So I am like not going anywhere until Thanksgiving. I am so glad to be home.
Yeah, it's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys have questions?
I guess I was trying to work on some stuff, but yeah, I guess I had a question. Let me share my screen. Screen 3. All right, so one of the instructions was to modify the list so that it takes the store ID.
Yep.
Now, this is not the name of it in the model.
Okay.
So I should have the models, the name that I have in the model here.
It's up to you. It just needs to match on when you go to list input and you do the use params. That's where you would need to call it store ID, but it doesn't necessarily have to match in the model. So it's up to you. It's not a bad idea to have it match everywhere though.
Okay.
So you're gonna add on line 8. That's gonna be the next step for you.
All right. We use ramps here. All right. I don't know if you have a question.
Doug or Wayne, any other questions?
Sure. Yeah, I got a question that came up today.
Sure, go for it.
It was Sequelize, and I think, which screen am I sharing?
We can see your
Oh.
capstone front end and back end. Yes.
Okay, yep, that's the right one. So I wanted to do this thing where if this is for the grocery list items, if an item is inactive, I want to set, so if it's active, I want to set, if the incoming parameter is active, then set the parameter, set active to that. If it's not active, I want to set the parameter to that, but also set crossed off to false.
Okay.
And so this is the way I wound up doing it, because that's the way I didn't get any errors. But the way I started, which I think I may have figured out, is if I start by saying, get me the item that has that ID, can you do this?
You sure can.
That'll save it to the database.
Yes.
And then there was also something I saw, like item dot set. Is that for setting? Like
I have never used a dot set, but that's not to say that that isn't a Sequelize function.
Okay, but I mean, if this will work, then that answers my question.
Yes, that definitely will work.
Okay,
And that's not to say the update way won't work. If you're already doing a find on it and for other reasons, it's more efficient to go that save route. However, if all you need to do is update it and you don't need to find it before you work with it, then it is more efficient to go for the update route.
so even if it's much more, like more lines of code, because I'm saying update it one way or another, whereas this way I could say, okay, update is active to match is active. And then if is active is false, set crossed off to false.
Yeah, you could do something like, you could kind of meet in the middle there, and do something like, you could say like, let to update equal, active rec.params.is active. And then if, rec.params.active is false. Help if I type the right letter. Then to update dot crossed off equals false. And then you could just use your update here and set this to update.
Okay.
So that would be your most efficient route. Now, that's not to say that this won't work, but you're kind of breaking it down into the most minimum amount of code that you can.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, the gist, I got to where I was like, okay, I just got to get this to work and stop researching. But then in researching something else, I came across the save and I was like, oh, can we do this all through the
You
model?
sure can. Yes.
But then this, right, I keep forgetting, yeah, these are all objects.
Yep.
So,
Oh, I misspelled crossed off, but you got the gist.
yes, and this is,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but yes, I get the idea.
Cool.
Thank you.
Larry, go ahead. You are muted.
And my camera's off too.
All good.
All right. When I put in my params ID, I have to put it right here after this, next to this item search.
Nope, go down to 22.
Okay. Include store ID. Oops. And I just have to put params.id.
You're gonna do you're gonna tell it what key it's gonna be in. Yep, and then you'll do the params dot get. I can't remember, is it an object or do you need to use dot get for params? I think it's just an object, right?
For the for what's getting returned.
Yeah, I forget what use params returns. Let me just pull up a quick. Use params. Oh, okay. So right, let me request remote control quickly. Oh, actually, you can just do params dot and then whatever you put in your app.js.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. Wayne, go ahead. And welcome, Christy. Feel free to raise your hand if you've got a question.
So, sorry guys, work last night. I gotta get ready soon too. So my
You broke your back end.
yeah, that's my first issue, and then I was attempting to do the stuff. I think I got messed up somewhere.
Okay, well, let's get your back end. So you've got previous date is not defined on 102. And so that's right here. And
I
did
was
you mean to do it by created date?
not necessarily, but I thought that would have been like because all of them are like the same date, so that's why.
Yeah, I don't think you wanted, because you don't have previous date defined anywhere, right? So I don't think you want created date unless you were trying to sort by the created date.
Yeah, just by because all of them are. That's what I was thinking, because all of them were uploaded like the same time, so they would.
So you could do something like, if you were trying to do a sort, I think you say order by, you can order it by the ID, and then you say the ID should be ascending, and that's how you would do a sort.
Oh,
So the idea here, though, is that this is going to be dynamic, right? So you're going to say, when what you need to do is send in the page number. So when you do a call to your images, what that's in homepage. Nope, that's in photo grid. Okay, so you're kind of on the right track here, except what you want to send in is the page number.
oh,
And so what you're going to do over here is you're going to say, hey, when you go get the images, you're also going to get a page num. And so what you're going to do is say you're always going to limit it by 5 pictures. Only 5 pictures are going to come back on every page. But then the offset is going to be 5 times the page num. And you might need a parse int around that. So the first time this runs, it's only going to give you, it's going to say, well, what's the offset? You're on page number 0. So 0 times 5 is 0. Don't offset any of that. So you only are going to get the first 5 images.
okay.
Then it's going to say, okay, now when you go to page number 1, what ones do you want? And it's going to say, oh, skip the first 5 because we're going to do page 1 times 5, and you're going to offset the first 5 images and get the next 5.
Okay.
And then when page number is 2, yada, yada, yada. So this should, if I save, let me see if, hold on. In here, your server's back online, so you should be in better shape. Your low battery is giving me anxiety, Wayne.
Me too. Me too, I swear to God. Okay.
Okay, so now you're getting a not found on photo grid 15. So let me just look at localhost 3001/images. Isn't that we just /images/page num? /images/page. You've got your page set to 0. It's a template literal. That should have worked. Are you Oh, forgot to save. Oh, and now we got errors. On 32, it is mad. What the hell are you doing here, Wayne? Okay, so when you click the next button, you need to set the page to the page +1. And
Mhm.
then whenever the page number is updated, we are going to rerun get images. So by putting that in the array here, basically we're saying by just updating the page number, it's going to cause this code to rerun.
Okay.
So now we refresh. Now your backend probably crashed because our front end wasn't sending the right info. Let's try that again. Refresh. Connection refused. Active class, display, error, empty response. Okay, so let's look at what's going on in your backend. Your backend has an error, missing column. Is this supposed to be an aware? I don't think it's supposed to be an aware. I think that those are supposed to be out with these, aren't they?
Thought it wasn't there aware?
Let's see if this fixes it. Images.map is not a function. .map is not a function. Well, let's see. Did the backend crash or get mad? No, it didn't. So let's see what it returned. Network on 0. Preview the response. Here's the images. And here's the ones that we want. So what we need to do is have it send back only the rows that we actually care about. So because if you look at what's getting returned here, because we did a find and count to get the offset and the limit to work, it was returning both the count and the rows. But the front end is only cares about the rows. They don't care about everything else, right? So basically what we do in back here is we we'll just move all of this into a parenthesis and say, hey, when you send back the images, only send back the rows from those images. So here are your first 5 images now, yay. And when we hit next, that should have worked.
Click the other one.
Oh, okay. So that did work. You don't have, this should say previous, or you have them flipped, right?
Yeah.
But this is now working. So I would take a breath here, go after work, go review all this code. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. But you should make sure you understand how this is working before you go on to anything else.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Christy, go ahead.
Hello. So Nathan didn't have any time available. And I went into Heroku to delete. You said if we deleted the front end, we could have Heroku host the back end and GitHub Pages host the front end.
Correct.
Okay, so I didn't want to delete it until I
Had it working at GitHub Pages?
well, no. No, I mean, I hadn't even gotten that far, but I didn't want to delete it because you get all these messages and you have to do so much before you. So I'm gonna.
So you can wait to delete it until you've got it working at GitHub Pages and then delete it at Heroku. The two won't conflict with each other.
Is it hard to set it up at GitHub pages?
No. You could reach out to Latonia if Nathan is not available, because she has done that a bunch of times though. Or I can work with you now, or you can schedule a one-on-one, whatever you want.
Is it, how long is it fast? Like, is it something?
It's probably 15 minutes.
Mm, can you just, we don't necessarily have to do it, but can you kind of like walk me
It's
through it real quick?
It's a React deploy, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it has React. Here, let me show you.
So I will send you these steps.
Okay,
I'm putting it in the Zoom chat. I will also drop it to you in Slack.
Okay.
Those are like step by step how you do the deploy and how you get it all set up. Now,
Okay.
keep in mind, you don't need to do step 1 or 2 of in the procedure, because you've already created the React app and you already have it in a GitHub repository. So
Mhm,
you can skip right into step 3 of those steps. And then
mhm.
if you run into issues, just schedule a one-on-one with me, or see if Latonia is available, because she's also done that a bunch of times.
Question,
Okay.
is that for the Heroku alternative?
That is for the Heroku front end alternative. It is not a back end alternative, but that is how you would host your front end on GitHub pages instead of Heroku.
Oh, I got my back end on there. No, I'm good. I remember I had to buy that data package thing for Heroku.
Huh?
There's something I had to get for Heroku. Some data package, something. I don't remember what I did. I can't remember right now.
Okay. Doug, go ahead.
Okay, another sequelized question.
Yeah, go for it.
So, in this endpoint, so this is a question I have about a lot of them. So if you do an update, is there, I think I just answered it for myself. If I want to handle errors, I'd put this in a try catch.
You sure would.
Okay. So then another question, which I don't want to sound like asking you to do my homework for me, but so I wrote this one endpoint where I can set a sort order number on one of my list items.
Yep.
Could there be a way that I could set a bunch of sort order, that I could set a bunch of items at once? So like bulk update, or even if I did them one by one, can you pass like a JSON array to the back end from the front?
You
Like if I wanted
can.
to say,
You can't do it in a route parameter. Passing JSON in a route parameter is a bad idea, but passing it in a body is completely fine. And then there is a bulk update method in Sequelize. But it is, you have to do, I think you have to use bulk create and then say update on duplicate. So I will drop this link to you. It's probably going to be easier to just do a for loop over it, because I seem to remember bulk create and then update on duplicate has been a little fiddly.
okay, well, and it's not gonna be, it'll probably be like a dozen, maybe 24 tops. Like if I had my whole shopping list that I
Yeah,
wanted.
at that point, I would just do a for loop over it, and just update update them one by one. But it is possible to do a bulk update by using bulk create and then identifying what fields you want to update.
Okay, so with looping, does it make sense to send a JSON array from the front end and then on the back end have it loop through it, as opposed to have it loop through them all on the front end and just update one at a time?
Correct. It would be better to make one call and then loop on the back end than it would be to do 12 calls from the front end.
Okay, thank you. I'll give that a try.
Larry, you're up.
All right, so I'm trying to connect the store ID now. And can I tag that on in the where clause right here?
Yeah, so you're gonna do, let me request. You're gonna just tag it on. That closes that closes. Yeah, so you are on the right path. You're just gonna say fulfillment store number is going to be rec.body.ext ID.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just whatever is here needs to match whatever is coming in over here. And then whatever this is what needs to match in your model.
Okay. And that's how it matches. Thank you.
Cool. Christy, we're back to you.
For the blog, what are we, I know we deployed it and that was our example, but what are we gonna do with it? So if I delete the blog off of Heroku, what happens?
Nothing. You just can't show off that the code is functional. You can't show off a deployed version of it, which is okay.
So if I keep the blog back in and put the blog front end on GitHub Pages, I can show
So-
that I have.
Before you go through all of that work, did you try and figure out how to get your account verified so that you could have 100 projects instead of 5?
No, how you do that?
I
Share
think
your
you
screen.
should have your email. It should be in your email because when I checked, I went through my email.
I want to get your account verified so you don't need to worry about Heroku until November.
Okay, so yeah, let's do that. So I don't have to delete anything. And so I'm going to, where do I go?
Go to your profile in the top right. Go one over. Yeah, that one. And then say account settings.
That crazy picture.
Scroll down a little bit. Is there a verify somewhere? Multi-factor, SSH. Where does it say you're limited to 5 apps?
When I tried to add my capstone,
Okay, so go
I
through
mean,
that and see
my
what happens.
portfolio, huh?
Try and do a new app and see what happens.
So let's see. Let me go here. So see how I added the portfolio front? When I tried, and I didn't really add it, I need to do more, but so let's see, new, create new app. App view would be,
Give me 1 second. Someone's out my door.
okay. Here we go. Has anyone been to the fair?
I have not been yet.
I have not yet.
My wife is there now.
Was that one of your
She went with her
doorbells?
sister.
I heard a doorbell and I thought it was mine, but no one's at my door.
I heard a dog. That was all I heard.
Oh, my dog went off because of the doorbell, but then I didn't like get an alert. So I'm just very confused as to where the doorbell sound just came from. But anyway. Okay, so you do have to add payment information to verify your account. So if you wanted to, you could put in the stipend debit card,
Let
and
me
that
grab-
would verify it without charging you.
Okay, let me grab it. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing real quick and add.
Just, yeah, good idea. Just keep in mind that they're gonna start charging for apps at the end of November. So you're gonna wanna you'll get emails before they start doing that, but you'll just wanna keep that in the back of your head.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions?
Yeah, I have a general question about my capstone.
Can give you a general answer then.
Is it? Does it indicate a problem if when I'm in my capstone and I navigate to different paths, you know, with buttons and so forth, but when I'm in any route except the route, if I reload the page, I get a bunch of errors. Like, should you be able to hit refresh on your app?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm worried that that has something to do with your, don't you have some kind of like landing loading page?
I have like, yeah, it's like an init sort of a thing that's like goes through and checks.
My guess would be that your problem is in there. I can't definitively say your problem is in there, but I am guessing that when you go to your route, it properly routes you through the landing page init thing and then takes you to where you're supposed to go. But when you refresh the page, if you go directly to a non-route route, it will not hit that init function properly, and that's what's causing your error.
Okay, so when it refreshes, it should start over from the root, or at least for, I mean, it should
It probably needs those init functions again.
so when it refreshes, it loses all the data that was there.
Correct, because
Okay.
state is ephemeral. Once you refresh, the state gets cleared.
Okay, thank you.
Now, there are ways around that using like window local storage, which might be a hacky solution. So that's when you've got to decide, is it better to shove my data in local storage and essentially cache it in the browser? Or is it better to change my routing so that isn't a problem on refresh, so that those inits happen kind of in the background or on every page or whatever else?
Okay. Thank you. Being aware of what the issue is, I can at least try to intelligently address it. Thanks.
Sure.
So now I got the plain page. I mean, you know, I got the page that would give me the information so that I could add it. So now it's verified.
Yep, you're good to go.
That was it?
That was it.
Okay.
That's why I was like, hold on, let's pump the brakes here on a whole GitHub pages transfer. Now, again, that only clears you until November 28th or whatever date they gave you. And now that they've got your credit card, they'll probably start charging you on the 28th if you don't shut down the free ones or delete the free ones by then. But between now and the end of November, you're good to go.
Okay.
Larry, go ahead.
I can't find my input list anymore.
What do you mean? Oh, so you need to go through the pick store route, and that is what should take you to your input list.
Okay.
So do you have, what's your button look like on pick store?
Non-existent yet. Let's see.
So that's probably what you want to do first, because you're gonna, the right order sequence of events there is to, when your app loads, go to the pick store screen, pick your store, and then that's going to route you to list input. That's going to have the right store ID in the route.
Okay. So let me see. So here on 14, I need to put the
No, you had it right on commenting that in on 23,
okay.
but go to your pick store file.
This is the pick store file here.
Okay, and so now you need to do your that step 25.
Oh, okay.
Right, because when your app boots up, it's going to say, okay, welcome to the app. What store do you want to work with? And you're going to pick one of the 6. And when you click on that button, it's going to take you to /list input /123 or whatever store you picked.
Okay.
So once you get this working in the browser, go to /pick store or whatever your route is. And once you click on the button, then it will take you to the right list input.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Other questions? After 3 weeks of travel, the sun is hitting my computer and it's really grossing me out. So I am going to do a computer cleaning after office hours. Reminder that I will be in person next week. So feel free to swing by Common Space. We'll still have remote classes or, have Zoom set up for all of that stuff, but I will be in person next week. Starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Monday. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this our last full week coming up?
Yes.
Wow,
Pretty much.
that's hard to believe. So now I do have I do have a question,
Go for it.
as long as no one else is asking one. And this is along the lines of, please check my homework. So here I tried to write a bulk. Oh. So I'm telling it, get item of rec body items, and for each one, update the sorting order where the ID, item ID. And then on the front end, I'm getting these results ordered items.
Yep.
And that's what I'm sending.
Yep. That's how I would do it.
That all looks, that's all.
I don't
okay.
see any problems with it. No.
Awesome. Thank you.
The await in front of that update is also super important. That you have it in place, because otherwise it's going to queue up all of those queries to run without waiting for the query to actually be finished running. So sometimes you run into issues where Node runs out of memory to execute all of those queries. And so waiting for that query to be done running before you move on to updating the next item is basically what that await is doing.
Okay, the await before list item update.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other reason it's important is because you then turn around and do a find on all of them, right? So if you said, oh, database, go update all of these, but we don't care when they're done running, your find would come back with an order that did not have all the updated items in it. So that's a double important await. One, because you don't want to overload the database server. You want to wait for one query to be done before you move on to the next one. But then also you want it all to be right in the database before you rerun the find and return that data.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, I can't tell you how many times I have, because sometimes you can get away with, oh, this is an update. You know, the database will update it whenever it gets around to it. You know, we don't need to await it. And then you get into this tricky area where you're like, well, I ran the update and it looks right in my database. Why is it wrong on the front end? And it's because, you know, by the time you've gone and checked the database, the update finished, but not in time for the find that ran right after it.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Other questions? And in office hours early?
All right.
All right. I'll
Good night,
hope to
everybody.
see you guys in person tomorrow. If not, I'll see you online.
All right, night, everyone.
Good
Thanks,
night.
guys. See ya.